Hello.
Hello. Hi, sir.
Hi, Dikshita. How are you?
Yeah, I am good. How are you?
Okay. So, Dikshita, welcome to Q Labs for you. And this is one-on-one connect with you. And the query which I have found on the form that is related to, writing the test
Yes.
cases or
Yes.
real-time applications, right?
Huh.
Okay, fine. So, Dikshita, as you are also a part of our ongoing session where we are going to discuss in details about things, how a QA will work on any real kind of project. So, in detail, we will discuss on those sessions. But yes, the query which you are like asking related to testing or writing on real-time applications. So, for that reason, I have figured out or I have listed down some of the common things which you have to make sure before doing any kind of testing. Okay, so in order to answer your question, first of all, do you have any experience of testing any real time of application or writing the test cases?
No, I don't have real-time experience, but yeah, sometimes what happens if in production, if we like users are facing an issue,
Yes.
so we have to reproduce that bug.
Okay.
So we just normally try to reproduce the issue. That's it, and we don't do any sanity or
Okay.
smoke or regression.
Okay, so in that case, I guess someone will report you a bug, and those steps are mentioned on one particular ticket. You just need to follow those steps in order to reproduce the issue, right?
Not a step, but actually we like they have already while joining the company, they have already like provided all the KTs. So
Okay.
if once the users mention the exact issue now, so
Hmm.
use like they share the screenshot.
Okay.
So just by checking that screenshot, we have to reproduce it.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, fine. So, like, at least you have idea what we are going to test in the real time
Yes, huh.
application, right? Okay, fine. So, can you just tell me what all things application can consist of? Like the application you are using, right? It must have some different modules, right? So, can you just list down what all modules for any application?
Okay.
I'm just looking for the generic answer, not specific to your application. Okay, so can you just list down?
Okay, the login credentials where user need to like provide a certain login input to like access any application.
Okay.
First of all, they have to register themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they have to provide some basic details
Okay.
such as username
Okay.
and email ID, mobile details. And once they log in into any application,
Mm-hmm.
uh, according to their requirement. For example, if you are logging into Zomato,
Okay.
once you're logged in, like we can select a list of restaurants or based on our foods, they can select a particular module and like complete the process.
Okay, fine, fine. So it means whatever things you are doing, and those steps are performed on the front end, right? The application you are using
Yes.
on the front end, right? So when you are
Huh.
using things from the front end, there must be some back end stuff also, right? Like
Yes.
you have logged in, you have added the product or food into the cart, right? Then you check out, and at the checkout screen you have some payment option, like you can go for COD, you can go for different
Online. Huh.
yes, credit option or any PayPal or any other options, right? So these are the different steps which are being followed in most of the applications, I can say, right? Whether it's a e-commerce or a food related app, right? So it means that we have one thing which is common, that is the front end, correct? Second is
Yes,
the
sir.
back end, and the third is the that third party thing, third party integration, I mean. Okay, because suppose if you want to build an application, or you are working on any application where you have to do the checkout of one particular product. Okay, so in that case you have option for the COD, but if you want to go for any online mode, okay, in that case there is some third party
Huh.
integration, right? Even though you are not familiar with the third party, you feel like that it is a part of application, but that is the separate entity. Okay, we just integrate the entire setup of other company in our application, and we just take use of it. Okay, so in this way, the third party integration is there, and the last is the entire end-to-end flow. Okay, so why I'm just breaking entire application into different sets, because I just want to showcase how things will work in an application. In a application, there is a front end, there is a back end, there is a third party, and when we combine all of them, it turns to be a end-to-end flow. Okay, so that is the way where any application will work. Okay, now the question comes up, how we will do the testing or how we will write the test cases. So before writing the test cases, we have to understand what all things which we have to test. Okay, so now I guess you have you get the idea why I'm focusing on different sets, right? Related to front end or back end or the third party. Okay, now if I talk about different cases which right now happening in the industry, in this way applications are developing, because you are into the support, so you are mainly getting the issues from the production only. Okay, but how application is right now creating or developing in any real kind of project. So there are basically two cases which I guess I have figured out. Might be there are different other cases also, but what I have figured out and I have listed down for you, that is, there are two conditions. First one is that when the development will be going on, in that case, one team is working on the front end, that UI part, one team is working on the back end, and then once the that backend part is completely ready, then we integrate the front end with backend, and then entire application is ready for the testing or for the use. Okay, so this is first way of application where things are doing or things are working. But there is another way also, where first of all the focus will be on the API testing, okay, or API development. Once the API will be developed, then we'll start working on the front end part, and directly we integrate the APIs with the front end. So in this way, what will happen when you are going to test the application as a QA, you have to test front end along with the integration part. Okay, suppose if I go with flow one, or the scenario one, where you have one team which is working on the front end part and developing the front end cases, and one team is developing the backend APIs. So there is a delay from the backend side. They are taking much time on the development on the backend APIs, and front end is ready for the testing. So in that case, what will happen? They usually attach mock APIs that will give you the dummy data. Okay, so in this way, you just verify all the UI things. Okay, and once the backend will be ready, you will verify the backend changes. API testing will be done. Then they will integrate those APIs with the front end. Then again, you have to do a entire integration. That yes, whatever the APIs are giving the results in real time, those are getting populated on the front end side also. Okay, because when we start using the real time data, real time APIs, so in this case, sometimes there are some issues may be occurred. Okay, so that part you have to verify. So in this way, there are three steps. First of all, you have to verify the UI with the mock APIs. Second, you have to verify the APIs functionality, and third one is, again, you have to do entire flow as a end to end, just to make sure that yes, API integration is correct. But what if we will go for scenario two, where APIs are developing one step before than the UI? So in that case, once the UI will be ready with the integration, you can do this UI part with API in a single go. So in this way, instead of going with three steps, you can cover it in a two steps. So these are the two scenarios which are right now trending in the industry. So this is all about the scenarios which is ongoing. Now we can discuss what all things we have to cover it in a front end testing. Because why I'm saying what we are covering in the front end testing, what we are covering in the back end testing, in this way you just figure out what all cases those are required. Because if I will say you, there are six different things which we have to cover as a part of front end. So if you will follow those six steps or like 6 techniques which I'm sharing to you, those are applicable to all the applications. So I'm just trying to give you the generic idea so that you can apply that knowledge in all the application. It is not only to your application, or if I will share one dummy application or any application like Flipkart, Zomato, so that will be only applicable to those scenarios. But I'm just trying to help you out with real time or some generic cases. Okay, so I hope you got the idea what I'm trying to figure out, or what I'm
Yes,
trying
sir.
to share with you. Okay, so now like you are going to test the application from the front end. Can you just tell me what all things you will test from the front end?
Like modules such as if it's login screen, then
Yes.
we have to check the for like digit how many digit users are entering. It should be exact 10 digit,
Okay.
not more than that, or it should not we should not use any numeric sorry alphabet, or
Okay.
if it's in password, it should be able to read auto like OTP.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is any checkbox or a terms and condition, user should click on that without filling all the details. We
Mm-hmm.
should not allow the user to click on enter or submit page button.
Okay. Fine. Fine. So anything else you want to add on?
Yeah, if it's related to payment screen, then we have to make sure that all the amount and other details are filled before like clicking or filling any details or clicking on make payment.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Anything else you want to add furthermore?
Not sure.
Okay, fine, fine. So, Dikshita, whatever you are saying that are specific to login. Okay, now I'm just going to divide all the cases which you have like shared into some different sections. Okay, so suppose one application that is given to you and you have to do the testing from the front end side. Okay, so what will happen in real time? In real time, that whenever any story or any card will be created for the testing, so during the development or before the development, some visual designs are also shared with us. Okay, so what should be the UI, how button should looks like, how validation message should look like, and other details all should be mentioned in the ticket. Okay, so it means once that application will be delivered to you, or once module will be delivered to you, first of all what will you will test from the front end side, that the color, size, position, and the content, everything should be as it is, which is mentioned in the visual designs. Okay, so if I'm talking about the login screen, in the login screen, what all fields we have, can you just list down?
Mobile number, if it's a new customer or user, he should provide his first name,
Mhm.
last name, email ID, and mobile number and OTP.
Okay, fine. So what all fields which you have mentioned, those should be on the correct position. The size should be the correct, the color, design, everything should be matching with the visual designs. Okay, so visual designs will be shared by the designer to you on the ticket itself. So first thing you have to verify the these element positions. Okay, element position, color, or I mean the size, text, all these things. The second thing which you have to test, that is related to input data, which you are like trying to say that yes, I will try to check whether first name is able to enter, user should not be login or should not register itself until unless all the details are not mentioned. So those kind of validation you have to test on the second level. Okay, and at the same time
Okay.
you can also check for the validations like minimum character, maximum characters. You can check for the special characters. Okay, what if we are trying to register with the same user again and again, so some specific validations with respect to the field we can verify. Okay, so that is the second thing. Third thing, related to the usability. Whenever you start the testing, you make sure that whatever you are testing, that should be user friendly. Once that will be deployed on the production, any user will start working. That should be I mean, a easy flow for the user. User should not take load and start thinking from his own how flow will work. Okay, so you have to make sure that usability should be there. Okay. So these all things you will start notifying once you will start thinking from this point of view on your application. Whatever the steps or things I am just telling you, you just start thinking from your application point of view. You will be able to understand, yes, all these things you are already covering because testing is already there, right? Okay.
Yes, sir, sure.
Next, if your application is on the website, okay, so in that case, you have to make sure that it should be working on different browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari. So it should be working on all the different browsers. So that you have to verify. Okay. Next one, if it is a mobile application, in that case, it should work on different Android versions or iOS versions on different resolutions. Okay. Different screen sizes. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. Then next step is the that cache and cookies. Okay, right now everyone is using cache and cookies concept in the application just in order to give the performance like to avoid the performance related issues, so that the data should be rendering or populating very quickly. Right now when you are using the Chrome, you are using any website, suppose just take example of Myntra. Okay, you are on the Myntra and you are just searching for some product. Okay, and you are just on the page and just typing something related to your stuff. Okay, so that all preferences the website is saving. Okay, so once you will come again, they will start showcasing the data or the items according to your preferences. Okay, so in this way they are using the cache and cookies concept, and that is applicable on both the web and the mobile, and even the APIs also. Okay, so you have to make sure that cache and cookies should work properly. There are use cases, suppose you have one application and after some some days or some years, there is a upgrade in the application where you have to where some changes are there in terms of login related things or some security changes. So in that case, if there are some users who are already using the application and they have cache and cookies on the web browser or on the application, so they will see the old data. Okay, so we have to make sure that whenever we are like pushing any new changes on where we want to showcase the new changes to the user, then cache and cookies should be clear automatically for the users. So that kind of thing we have to make sure. Suppose the the mobile version A is right now running on the user's device. After some time, we have integrated some more features and we have released another build. So when user will start downloading the new build, so if he has some login credentials, so ideally login should be there, or user should be logged out. It totally depends on the need. What we are expecting from the new build. If we are expecting user should logged out, then cache should be cleared whenever any new user should downloaded the new build. Okay, so in this way you have to verify that cache and cookies part also. Then one more thing which right now trending, that any application is not only to specific to one country. Right now if we are developing any application, we think of that it should be worldwide. If I'm working on any application which is applicable to India, I'm also thinking of it should be working on other countries. So if we are working on different countries, so it means there are different policies with respect to countries, there are different products with respect to countries. So accordingly data should be visible to the users with respect to the country, and only those users which are applicable to those countries should able to see the data. So these kinds of things we have to also make sure. One more use case which I can share with you, in case of Middle East, some applications most of the applications which are developed in the Middle East, they are developed in different languages. They are also available in the Arabic, they are also available in the English. Okay, because there are different users. Okay, so in that case you have to make sure that application is working fine on both the languages, in the Arabic as well as in the English language. So these all things you have to verify. Now if you are on the front end, And as I told you, there is a backend thing also. Once backend will be ready, then it will be integrated. So it's a responsibility of a front end guy that he or she should verify that after the integration things are working correctly, because at the end, once the integration will be done, the data will get populated on the front end side. So data should be correct enough on the front end. Okay. So I hope you got the idea what we have to cover from the front end side. And like from all these steps, you can figure out different test cases according to your feature, according to your module. Any doubts till now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope you got the something new with this UI.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now we have covered what we have to test from the front end. Now the case comes from the back end, because sometimes as a QA you have to take care of the front end as well as the back end part also. And in some cases where some dedicated back end team is there and some dedicated front end team is there. So in that case, that is fine. But if a project is small and it is a like fixed budget project, in that case you have to like cover the backend as well as the front end. So I will talk about the backend also. Okay, I have listed down some of the pointers which you have to cover as a part of backend. Okay, so what things comes under backend? Can you just elaborate little bit what you are thinking about backend when you think when you listen backend testing or backend stuff in the application? What all things will comes under this? Any idea?
Uh, for example, if a user gives any input
Mhm.
using the application,
Mhm.
it should store in the backend database.
Okay, so it means
So,
DB.
or else, it should store and fetch data from backend, and
Okay.
it should present all the details to the customer or user.
Okay, fine. Anything else
Mhm.
on the backend side?
No,
Okay,
like
fine,
not
fine.
sure.
I will tell you. I will tell you. Like you are doing the login. Okay, you are doing the testing.
Uh-huh.
So in that case, in case of login, there is a I mean username or email and password. Okay, these are the two fields on the login screen, and that is a and third one is the button. So what will happen in the backend, there is a API for the login which consists of a payload. Okay, payload where we have to like pass the username and the password, then we hit the API and it will work or it will give us the login details just like on the front end. So first thing that is required is the APIs. Okay, on the backend side, whenever you are going to work on any backend related testing, you have to first test the APIs. Okay, then in the APIs, what will happen? There are different methods in the APIs like get method, put method, post, delete, batch. These all things we will discuss in detail in our upcoming sessions, which are ongoing right now. Okay, but yes, I'm just trying to give you the high level idea what things will cover at a part of as a part of backend. Okay, now once API is there, you have to like test the APIs, then you have to test the DB, what you call that it is storing the data in a correct way, it is fetching the data in a correct way. Okay, so we have to also make sure that there should not be any kind of duplicacy in the data. We have to make sure that there should not be any kind of data corruption. Okay, we should be make sure that mapping with respect to different tables in the DB should be correct. Okay, so these things we have to make sure on the I mean on the DB end. And when we are testing the APIs, we have to make sure that I mean the status code is correct, the I mean the error messages which are coming, those are correct. Whenever we are hitting the API, there must be some token, so those tokens should be proper. Or what if the token is expired, if we have to provide some user ID whenever we are trying to log in. So what will happen if we try to log in with some invalid UID? Okay, what if we are providing some invalid payload? So these all things we have to make sure what should be the response time. If the API is giving the response and in a very slow manner, it is taking time. So what will happen at the front end? It will definitely give the response very late, right? Because the API is not responding properly. So we have to make sure that part also. We have to make sure at the API end that the security part is like we have covered. because at the API level, we have to make sure security and performance should be good enough. So we have to sometimes do the security as well as the performance part also. Okay, now we have to check the cache part on the API itself, because whenever there is any kind of data update, so the API is like getting the data from the DB itself, not from the cache. Why we are using the cache in the API is also because if we are going to use the API for fetching the data every time from the DB, it will take time, because when you are working on any dummy projects, so the data is very less, but in the real time the data is very huge. So to tackle the performance part, they implement cache. So we have to make sure that yes, if the data is coming from the cache, the performance should be good enough. But when there is any kind of update in the database, then the API should call it from the database, not from the cache, and cache should be cleared automatically, otherwise it will reflect the old data. So these things you have to verify. Okay, and you have to also make sure that some publishers and listeners which are used at the backend with respect to, I mean, with the use of RabbitMQ. These are the tools you are not familiar right now, but yes, we have to cover these things also, because right now in the API or in the backend, they are using some listeners, some publishers, just to make sure that data is correctly populating on different tables in the DB. Because when we hit the login, okay, or when we register some user, it is not going to save in one place, it is going to save in n number of places in the DB. Okay, these are things will happen in real time projects when the project is very big. And if you are going to work on any small project, that will not happen. They will directly save the data with the API itself. Okay, so these all things you have to cover it from the API side also. So these are the,
Sir,
yes, yes, yes.
I have a doubt. Like while testing, how can we make sure ki like how to find if we are getting the data from backend or it's
Um,
fetching the details from cookies and
okay, okay.
caches?
Okay, so for that reason, what I used to do, that if things are coming from cache or from the DB, so that is my way of testing. What I do, ideally, whenever the
Uh,
whenever for the first time when I hit the API, okay, so it will get the data from the DB. I'm assuming that. Okay. Second, when I hit again, it will get the data from the cache. So it means whenever I'm hitting next time, it will get the data from the cache itself. So what I do, I just update manually the data from the database, and again I hit the API. So if it will fetch the data, the updated data from the DB, it means it is not using the cache. Okay, because cache clearing part, it is again the event related thing. If we are doing the things from manually, okay, if we are like changing the things manually, that will not work. Okay, so we have to implement these kinds of things while doing the testing. Apart from that, you can also do some setups of the tools which are available in the market. I can share the list. Okay, so from that you can just list down if the data is coming from the cache or not, because once it will coming from the cache, one entry will be added in those tools, and you can just check, yes, it is coming from the cache. But you cannot test like what kind of data is saved in the cache. Okay, so that is the only thing you can verify. That is the only way, I think. So that is the approach which I am following right now. Okay.
okay, can you mention the tool names?
Yes, yes, yes. I will share the tools in the link itself, in the video link, once this will be published, so that you can also
Okay,
watch it again. Okay. And
okay,
you have to do the setup for the same. You can use on it on Windows, you can use it on Mac, any device you can use it. Okay, so that again comes when you are using the backend. So I hope you got the idea of what we have to cover in the front end, what we have to cover on the back end, what is the need of doing the testing from the back end, and what all cases we have to cover from the front end. So these all are the, I mean, the high level cases which I have shared with you. Accordingly, you have to write the test cases for the any module while considering these high level cases. I hope you got the idea, right?
yes, sir.
Okay.
For UI, we don't need to write any test cases now. Like it should be like color should be blue or white. We don't need to write test cases for UI.
We just write like the UI should be rendering correctly. So when we say that UI should be rendering correctly, it means that we are going to verify the color, we are going to verify the size, we are verifying the text. Okay, because it is not good that we are writing the test cases that the button color should be black, the size should be this, the position should be this, right? So instead of
Yes, sir.
writing these small cases, we just make it a generic. That is the reason I have shared you the generic cases. Suppose if you are checking the login on the Chrome, you can check like verify the login on different browser. That comes under cross browser, right? Like you have to verify on Chrome, you have to verify on Firefox, you have to verify on Safari. So it totally depends on the client requirement. Suppose if client is not expecting for the Safari, why you are going to test for on Safari, right? So it totally depends on client to client. If I'm saying that you have to test on different Android version, different devices, different iOS version, it is not possible. You will cover all the devices, all the Android versions, right? Client will give you some benchmarking that we have to cover these versions, these Android devices, these resolutions, right? So because until unless we will not define the scope, I mean, testing will not get over, right? We will do the testing from day one to like any days, right? We will not cover up the testing. We have to define the scope, and it is not possible that you will cover entire things as alone. Like I'm saying that if you are a QA and you are working on the front end, you are working on the back end, there is a security testing also, there is a performance testing also. So as a QA, if you are going to do all these stuff alone, so again it will impact on the delivery date, because you must take some time on doing these activities. So for that reason, if client is looking for all this stuff like security, performance, even automation, okay, front end testing, back end testing, in that case he has to build up some team where some members are dedicated involved in the front end testing, some are involved in the back end testing, some are involved in the security, some are involved in the performance. If I talk about the automation, in case of front end there are different tools available in the market, in case of backend there are different tools. So if client is expecting and they are ready to invest, because like at the end they have to pay the money, right? Then only like any organization will align the resources, and one person can do this, one person can do this as alone, but it will take time. That is the reason they maintain different teams, correct? So
Yes.
it totally depends what kind of role you are getting. If you are getting the front end role, you have to like cover the front end related testing. You have to write the test cases. So test case writing is like applicable in both front end and back end, both the cases. It is not like only on the back end we have to write the test cases, because if you are not writing the test cases, there must be a chance that you are missing some use cases while testing, right? So that is the main reason why we are why we are keeping the track of these things. And this is the approach, I mean, that we are covering things in a correct and in a proper manner. Anything else, any other doubt?
No, sir.
So I hope this one-on-one connect is fruitful for you as of now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in our upcoming session, like which is ongoing right now, we will going to discuss these things in detail with the real-time application. Right now, it is not possible to cover the entire cases with real-time application, right? So I just given you the idea. I mean, you're one step ahead from others right now. But yes, now you can start thinking from these pointers on different applications, and you are able to understand everything. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Okay, fine. So I think we can
Okay.
wind up
Thank
the
you.
call or anything else.
No, no, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Dikshita. And we will connect again on the ongoing session. And if you want any further one-on-one connect, we can connect again. You can just book the slot and we can connect for any other topic also. Okay.
Sure, sure. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dikshita, for your time. Have a good day.